that song, you definitely need to check it out on YouTube. The name of the group is called, what is the name of the group?
It's Los Flamers.
Los Flamers, Moviendo el Atol de Elote. And after you make Atol de Elote, you'll understand why there's a song to it, because it's a whole process. But today we have Jocelyn Duarte from SALEF, so aplausos for Josie.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy to have Josie here. She is doing incredible work in the Salvadoran community all over California, I feel, or Southern California especially, in Tijuana all the way to LA. And today we're going to make this beverage. If you've had Atol, let us know in the comments. If you know how to make it or if you have tips, write them down, because we want to see, because one of the things we notice is that there's a lot of different ways that people make Atol de Elote. So, Josie, you want to tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Oh, wow. Okay, well, my name is Jocelyn Duarte, and I am the Interim Executive Director of the Salvadoran American Leadership and Educational Fund, also known as SALEF.
And what do you do with SALEF? Just so that folks, if you haven't heard of this.
So SALEF was founded 23 years ago, and we are a scholarship fund. We were founded by Carlos Vaquerano, and we are the very first scholarship fund for undocumented students. And so our work has been around education and creating access for the Latino X community to be able to go to, gain a higher education. And we also have ventured out in creating a legal wing now, so we're able to provide legal services along with youth development programs. And so that's kind of what we do at SALEF.
That is incredible. And you can definitely find more about SALEF, and we'll be sure to leave all the website and all that stuff that you can plug into if you want to know more. So aside from all of the awesome work you do, you also like to cook, and
yes,
you love cooking Salvi food.
Yes, I do.
So I'm so excited about that, because that's what we love to do here.
Yes, thank you very much.
So you want to explain to us some of the ingredients we have here today, because we're making Atol.
So we're making Atol, and we're going to need, I think our number one ingredient is going to be corn. We need elote.
Oh, yes.
For the Atol.
For our, excuse me, for our only English speakers, Atol de Elote translates to pretty much a hot beverage made of corn. Elote is corn. And Atol, we were looking through some food history, actually comes from the Nahuatl word atole, atuli. And really it's just a word that means gruel. And gruel is kind of an ugly word, especially because this is a very delicious drink. It's a very delicious drink. So so we're just going to get started. So the first thing that you will want to do is get your ingredients. So we have
elote, we have corn, we have cinnamon. We also have some sugar. We're going to need some milk, some leche.
Some milk. And we have 2% here, but if you want to use 1% or non-fat, I mean, the whole point of Atol is that it thickens, and it's going to be hard to get a thick consistency if you have something that doesn't have fat. And for vegan drinkers, I guess you could use like any of the nut milks, like cashew milk or almond milk. I haven't experimented with that, but if you do, again, let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
And then we have the sugar, and then also you're going to need water. So this is the first step. So the corn, you're going to get, we already pre-did some of this corn, and what Josie is doing is when you get the fresh corn, you clean it. You are going to take all of the kernels off. You're going to cut them off, and then you're gonna molerlas. You're gonna blend them, because that's what we have available to us. That's the tool. And this recipe we have about, for every corn that you're going to cut, you're probably going to use about a cup of cold water. And we have one corn right here, and then this is I used a magic bullet. Magic bullets for the rescue. How many of you love magic bullets?
I do.
Shout out, Magic Bullet, if you're watching. Sponsor my videos.
Alright, so we have our corn here.
So we have our corn. So now, this is about, since we were using this to blend all the other ones, that's why the color's a little clouded. So we're going to throw this elote that Josie already cut. let me help you here. Te voy a ayudar, because that's what we do.
Alright.
Alright, so now we have this one right here. Add that to the stack.
So you were mentioning how many corns do we use for the recipe?
So we use about, for this one, you're going to use about 7 to 8 different corn cobs. And so that means you're going to need about 7 to 8 cups of water. And so after you do that, is this, okay, so it's going to get a little loud. No se enojen, don't get mad. Okay, so now we're just going to blend it here. And what you're looking for is something that is kind of a consistent, you know that it's broken down, because that's what we want. Excellent. Okay, so now you have your strong woman here.
Yes.
All right, so
we're gonna move
maybe,
this over?
yeah, let me move this over. So what you can't see is the liquid that we've already strained. So what Josie's gonna do here is pour it. There we go.
And I think this is where the song comes from, right?
Yeah, from that part, because there's a lot of steps to Atol. Atol de Elote is not difficult. The trick, the biggest trick you'll need is patience. And I know that sounds a little annoying, but it's true, right? Because you need patience to cut the corn. You need patience to kind of get all of your ingredients together, because it does take some time. So after you finish straining, yeah, about like 7 or 8 of those, you're gonna get this, which is like what's left after. This is all the pulp that was left after you've strained it, right? So if you've ever made like fresco, or if you've ever made a puree or something like that, you know that you get all of this pulp after you've blended it with water. So I think we're good. So we're gonna turn this on. I'm gonna move this here. Yeah, put that there.
All right.
And then now we have this beautiful, look at, it's so pretty.
I know, we were
It
just
smells
talking about
really
the color.
good too. So now what you're going to do is you're going to add it to your olla. I wonder if you can see the color. Does the color come on camera? It's such a pretty color. So this is the part where you're going to want to be very careful. So you saw how liquidy that was, right?
Mm-hmm.
So ahí está. And if you can hand me the wooden spoon.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so this is definitely the part where you want to stick with your atol de elote. So the trick is that if it doesn't get moved around, if you don't stir it, it's going to burn. Because there's so much sugar in here because of the just the sweet natural flavor in corn. But this is something that you're going to want to just keep moving. And then, let's see, we need to add a pizca of sal. So if you want to add pizca of sal. So this is just beginning. Add another little one, just because this is a lot. Yeah, nice that. And does anyone know why we add salt to sweet drinks?
I don't.
No. Does anyone on in the interwebs know? Okay, so salt, we usually add it because it calls for a balance of flavor. So when there's a lot of sweetness, you can't appreciate the sweetness unless there's something in the background to balance that sweet flavor. Okay. It's that word, I always get tongue-tied. Impalagoso?
Empalaga?
Impalaga, yeah.
Okay.
So that feeling of like, oh my gosh, this is so sweet. It's because there's nothing there to kind of catch all that sweetness to balance it all out. So we're gonna add half a cup of sugar.
All right. So this is half a cup of sugar.
Yeah, half a cup.
So each of these are half a cup.
Yeah, and then we're gonna add 3 sticks of cinnamon.
All right.
1,
2, 3.
Perfecto.
All right.
Okay. So now this is the part where you have to make sure that you are here taking care of it. Have you heard any tips about atol de elote or any consejos about it?
You know what?
I've heard one that makes me laugh.
You just can't move. and you just have to keep stirring.
Yes.
So, you know, just like with a lot of the food that we make, it takes a lot of work, right? Of us as women being in the kitchen, you know, and putting in the work. So it's a lot of labor, right?
Yes, it can be very
Labor intensive.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of the tricks I was going to tell you all, if you want to make sure, if you want to make it but you don't want to, or you want to find some ways to kind of cut time,
Okay.
excuse me, is you don't have to buy corn like this where you're cutting it and then blending it.
Okay.
Or no, you still have to blend it, but you can buy corn that's canned, especially if you don't have access to, like, I don't know, really good corn. Question?
Someone's asking if you're on medium heat. What heat do you use?
Oh, great question. So right now I am on medium heat, especially because this burner will like to get crazy hot.
Okay.
I'm making sure that I'm just moving it on medium heat, so I can feel the heat from it, but it's not too much. So we're just moving it around here. Nothing really should make it like feel like it's going too crazy hot. So that's one thing. And you were telling me about like cooking and your mom, and how did you learn kind of all of your recipes? Because you make a really good yuca con...
I do. I like making yuca con fritada, and I like...
And do you want to explain that to the people who don't know?
So yuca is like a root, like a potato, but way better.
Yeah.
And then and why it's so great, and Salvadorans use it. We make it, and then we use fritada, which is pork. And so there's a sort of like a sauce and like a meat sauce with the pork, and you put that over the yuca, and you can have it sancochada or frita, which is my favorite. Frita, and then what I love about Salvadoran food is the curtido, because each type of curtido is different, and depending on where you're from, your curtido looks a different way. And so that also has its own type of curtido. And I love, one of the things that I love when I go back to El Salvador, especially when I'm in Sonsonate, is the way they serve it, which is with adentro de las hojas de plátano. So it's basically, they make a bowl out of the plantain leaves, and the yuca is inside with the curtido, the fritada. And some people put, I guess you would pescaditos, right?
Oh, yeah.
Anchovies, or what would you call those?
I know what you're
So I think that's one of my favorites to make, but I think that one of the most intimidating things for me as when I became a mom and I, got married and stuff, was cooking, because my mom is such a wonderful cook, and she's so, her flavor, right, and everything, and so it was very intimidating for me to go into the kitchen. But then I kind of found my way and kind of fusing her, and it was funny because I didn't need to have like all the measurements like I was explaining to you, because it somehow to me came naturally after I stopped thinking about it. So after I stopped trying to measure, and I was like, okay, I remember you do this, right? Yeah. And so then I came up with my own, recipes, like my everything chicken, right? And then, you just kind of...
Everything chicken.
Yeah.
That sounds good. That sounds good to me.
Everything on it. So definitely, right? So I think it was intimidating for me to go into the kitchen. And I think there was such a big push for me not to go into the kitchen, because I was supposed to go to school and I was supposed to be doing other things. And so there was never going to be a need for me to go into the kitchen and cook and worry about those things. But then it became something that I always wanted to do, right? So...
No, I definitely feel you on that. Cooking can be, especially for the mujeres, and even maybe some of the Salvadoran gentlemen, if you want to chime in, that is a very real pressure, right? Like, knowing how to cook and knowing how to handle yourself in the kitchen, like, kind of determines, like, how Salvi you are, how Salvi woman you are. Yeah. So it's definitely, like, I definitely feel you. And if you saw me pouring the milk, I forgot to add it in the very beginning. So if you also forget to add your milk, this is a really good tip, is a lot of people will say that their atol separates. And the reason why that happens is because you had two different temperatures going on. So let's say you were like, oh, and this is also starting to thicken now. ¿Verdad que sí?
Yes,
Lo
I
ves?
can definitely see
Yeah. So what's going on is that if your atol, your corn and water mixture are hot, and this is like frigid cold, and you just pour all of it in there,
it's gonna separate. Se va a cortar.
se va a cortar.
Yeah.
Y después de eso, ya no hay marcha atrás. You can't undo it. Yeah, it's just there. And if that's the case, it's okay. You can do it again. So because I forgot to put it, because when this corn mixture was cold is when I should have added it. So because I forgot that, and because we are live, I decided to just carefully just stream it in very slowly.
It is not separating.
No, it's not separating because it was a slow stream, which means that the temperature of this isn't going to shock the corn mixture. So, yeah. One of the things I was going to tell you, one of your SALEF co-workers told me, a consejo with making Atol de Elote is that you should be in a good mood. If you're not gonna or if you're feeling angry or stressed, or sea lo que sea.
Let me guess who that was. Was that Carla or Brianna?
It was Brianna. Sorry, Brianna. Yeah. So some folks really believe that it can affect your food. I really think that there's some truth to it.
Yes.
I've
heard that with egg. When you're making the
really?
The whisquiles rellenos.
Oh, yes.
And my mom would get upset if we would come into the kitchen, and we would, or she's like, "You're stressing me out," or because she says, "Se me va a cortar el huevo," and it won't be as fluffy.
Yeah.
And so I do remember that. So I do think that has something to do with it.
I think it does. I kind of like that because
I don't know if there's a science to it.
Here's my theory. And my theory is, scientists correct me if I am wrong, but I think that there's something about our pheromones. When we cook and we touch our food, that's why that sazon that your mom has, this is, you're connecting with people. This is why we love, our mom's cooking and our grandmother's cooking, or why, I've heard so many people say, oh, it's the same ingredients, same quantities, same city, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same. And that's because when we touch our food, and that's why, it's so important to not be afraid to touch your food. Don't feel oh no, but I'm going to ruin the vegetable, or like I said, just don't.
That makes a lot of sense. Your sazon.
Your sazon, yeah. That's why you just got to get in the kitchen, because no one can do what you can do.
That's right.
There. We said it here.
Are we pouring in this one yet?
So let's try this a little bit. I have a tasting spoon here for you. So I'm going to have you try it. So solo agarra un poquito ahí.
No me voy a quemar.
Moviendo el atol de elote.
Tasting really good, Carla.
¿Qué le falta? ¿Qué le falta?
I think we just need to thicken it just a little bit more.
And sugar? How are we with sugar?
I would add a little bit more.
A little bit more? Okay, so let's add a little more.
I would do this. I would start there.
Alright. Okay. I would start there.
I would start there.
Okay.
Not to make it too sweet, que no empalague a nadie.
Yes. I had a delicious atol maybe 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Atol de plátano.
Wow, I've never had that. Where'd you have that?
It was at a watermelon restaurant, Casa Chapina. I can't remember where exactly it is.
Anybody know where Casa Chapina
off of
is?
Western. Off of Western, yeah. It was, oh my gosh. It was so good. And
I'm half Guatemalan.
Oh, mira, ve.
So I'm half Salvadoran, so that doesn't make me less authentic.
No.
I'm full Central American. Disclaimer. So my mom is Salvadoran and my dad is Guatemalan. And so one of the things that my mom always tried to do is she tried to balance making, but I still grew up eating more Salvadoran food. So yeah, my poor dad. So siempre hacía, mi mamá trataba de hacer las enchiladas guatemaltecas. Actually, she made some for my birthday.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we had yuca con fritada, which is my favorite, and my Guatemalan enchiladas, because I'm half.
Yes.
But yes.
And you know what? That's something that after starting SalviSoul, like, is one thing I want to do more. I want to eat comida nicaragüense. I want to eat comida hondureña. I love baleadas.
I love Nicaraguan
baleadas.
food.
I just had some, and it was incredible. They do a lot with fried cheese.
Yes, queso frito. It's so delicious.
You can't go wrong with fried cheese.
Yeah, but one of the things, like, if you start, I know that, when I was in college, we took a trip with all of my friends, because I did graduate from CSUN, and I am a Central American Studies major. So with all of our friends, our class, we actually went to Central America, and we started in Costa Rica and worked our way all the way up to Guatemala. And I think one of the things that I did notice is the gallo pinto, and like just the variations of what we know as casamiento.
Yes.
Yes, and so I thought that was very interesting. So I always think, the variations within each country, while they're the same ingredients, but there's a variation, right?
There's this like magical thing that happens because there's these subtleties that you can't really pick up if you expect it to be like out of this world. It's like, no, the differences are so subtle and so awesome. Question. Awesome.
We have one question and a few comments. Martha's asking, was it equal parts milk and water? I think I missed that.
Oh, you did miss that because I didn't tell you. I'm sorry, Martha. No, so great question. So in this little jug, we put 3 cups of milk. So you want the milk because it'll sweeten it too, because milk has that awesome ability. But it'll also thicken it because of the calcium.
And we did how many of water?
The dairy. And the water, we did 7 because we used 7 of the corn.
Yes, so 7 and 3.
Because you still want this to be drinkable.
Yes.
If it's like, it lives between like a pudding or poleada and like tea. It needs to live in between there.
In that spectrum.
Because if it's either one of the other two, it's not atol. Another question?
And Stephanie says, Josie, everything chicken should be the next episode. Bum.
That's my best friend, Stephanie. And that's something that her and I, we've done a lot of things together. We did our undergrad together, and then we did our master's together, and then we work in the community together. One of the things that she has a challenge with is the kitchen, and I always tell her, don't worry, we'll fix it, so for Thanksgiving, we usually, and Christmas, I help her prep for her, and then we do it together. So it's something else that we get to do together, so I share that with her.
That's awesome. Yes. And it's so great to, help each other out, because one of the things that I believe, and I think, Josie and I were talking about this, is that for our community, if we can't travel to El Salvador as often as we want, because, pisto, quien lo tiene,
right.
Food is a great way for us to hold on to these traditions. Some of us struggle with the language, and that's okay, all of these things. We are a community that is adjusting on the regular. And it's really important to, encourage each other in the ways that we can keep our culture alive. So if you don't know how to do something, a guisado or tortillas or lo que sea, like, have confianza with one another.
Yes.
¿Verdad que sí?
Yes.
Eso es super salvi.
Yes.
Super centroamericano. Tener confianza. A question, comment.
We have requests for more episodes. The next one is from Alma. She says, how to make casamiento should be your next episode.
Yay,
awesome,
yes.
Yeah.
I think that
Casamiento, yeah.
I loved making casamiento too.
Oh,
So
see?
I remember
I'm
when
gonna have her back, you guys.
when I actually made my first, casamiento, I felt so proud. And when I made my first sopa de pollo or sopa de gallina, all these things were like these milestones for me.
Yes.
So definitely, and and I remember when I made tortillas. And I was like, wow, and they actually looked like tortillas, and they were cooked all the way. So I guess, those are, I think because it's so tied to my identity, like you were saying, I can smell it.
I know,
I think
so
that
good.
it's true that, food, a lot of us that were either born here or came here at a young age, and people that aren't able to travel back for legal reasons, I think that if you're fine, there's a lot of reasons, right?
Yeah.
Or some of us, all of our families here, and
Yeah.
we don't have family back in El Salvador.
That's a big one.
Yeah, but I think it's like this nostalgia, right? This nostalgia, and it's always, how do we connect, right, to back to the motherland, and how are we always, so these are some of the things, especially I think during the holidays. Like last night at the SALEF Christmas party, we had Salvi turkey, right, and these things that are like, right, so really shout out to Harawa for giving us providing us with our dinner last night. But definitely I think that food is so especially during these holidays, where people are feeling maybe not being able to, a lot of those transnational mothers who can't travel back and be with their children, and so maybe being in the kitchen and preparing a meal, it connects them back, and so yeah.
Yeah, it's a really, food is so much. It's so much more than just the foods that you drink or chew. Like, the meaning we give to them is really incredible. And Atol is one of those, like, my neighbor who is Guatemalan, she made Atol. We had a game night here, a neighbor game night. And she had some Atols that she brought up. And as soon as I, tried it, I felt like it was a hug. And I told her when she walked in, I was like, Claudia, I feel like this was a hug that I can enjoy.
I like that. It is Atol is like that, though.
Yeah, it's like a huge hug.
It embraces you.
Oh, and something real cool for expectant mothers or just moms who are moms already. Atol is one of those foods that is very healthy, and it's actually helps their gain strength, because when women go through pregnancy and birth, I've read, I'm not a mom, but
the calcium in your body,
it helps.
That's why your teeth shift and a lot of things, because the babies will take a lot of your calcium, and so that's what that ends up happening. I also think that I remember some of the things that I did when I was a new mom, because my kids are big now, 13 and 11. Was Atol, también chocolate, especially if I was nursing. So some of those things, I think that was one of the other moments where I felt really connected to my mom and my suegra, who passed away, was these recipes. And so she would, she would call me, or me mandaba chocolate. She would send me the tabletas of chocolate so I could make them. And definitely Atol was something else that, I would have to help me during that time. How's it tasting?
I love it.
Are we there?
We're there almost with the... I kind of think it's good. Pero tú dime. You try it.
But the thing is, I like a lot of sugar.
No, if you want more sugar, I'm cool.
I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try to be healthy and not have too much sugar.
I think because it still tastes like elote, pero si tú quieres más azúcar, I'm down with that too. Más azúcar. I see your face, and that tells me it wants more sugar.
I'm gonna shake it.
I'm gonna increase. Si quieres ponle un poquito más, porque esa es media taza.
It was like a lot of shakes. If you were counting.
Yeah. So I increased the heat.
Okay. It is thickening. I can see it.
It's thickening, and one cool way that you'll be able to tell is if you feel the tension when you're moving it, with your wooden spoon. So you can feel how there's a little bit more tension because it's getting thicker. But this does take some time. And
how long would you say that we would need to keep it on here? Half an hour?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 20 minutes to half an hour. Yeah. So it is something that is a tiny bit of labor intensive. But if you want to give something to your family, or the holiday season, you have people over, this is definitely one of those things that they will appreciate.
Yes.
And it smells so good, and I want it to be thick already so I can enjoy it. So you just keep moving it. And what are the steps in the song?
Moviendo el Atol de Elote.
It's like uno. Oh, it has steps.
You should listen to the song again.
It has steps. Should we play the song again? Do you guys want us to play the song again?
I say you play it so we can sing.
So, okay. Bailando.
I didn't count how many steps.
They have steps. They have steps. It makes sense because why they made a song about this, because it is a lot of steps, like we said, and it's an iconic kind of Salvi thing, I guess. And I wonder if they're a Salvadoran group. If you're watching and you can Google, are Los Flamers a Salvadoran group? Because Atol de Elote is also in Guatemala, in Nicaragua. All of Latin America has their own kind of versions of Atol de Elote.
Well, I think it's because it goes back to like our indigenous roots.
Yeah.
And how
Corn is all
maize
throughout.
is at the center of sustenance, not in building community, and it has a lot of meaning. So
Yeah.
I know how it's connected to our diet as well.
One question someone asked me. Oh, so there's the song. It's such a fun, happy song.
I know, you can tell the holidays are coming when you have this music on. So you don't think we're gonna need the whisk at all at any point?
No, so
Okay.
the whisk, you can use the whisk. The only thing is that the handle, you're
It'll get-
holding it a while, so it'll get hot.
It'll get hot. Okay.
It'll get hot. And that would be good if you're doing like atol de maicena, for instance.
Because it's thicker.
And the powder.
Right.
It's,
And so you
the
gotta
flour, I mean.
Uh-huh.
You want something that'll like dissolve it
got
into
it.
the liquid.
Got it. Okay. I really like whisks, but it's
I know. I'm gonna have you.
I can help you.
Yeah, we're gonna switch off.
All
Ready?
right. Okay.
Switching.
All right.
There you go.
All right.
Moviendo.
Oh, I can smell the cinnamon.
Yes, I'm so excited to try it. So atol is one of those things where you definitely are not going to make it in the summer. Can you imagine having atol de elote in the summer? It's one of those foods that you are going to want to enjoy when it's cold outside, because it just gives you strength, te da aliento, and it gives you energy.
Yes.
So you definitely are not going to want to do that. And then as far as like cinnamon, some people don't put the cinnamon in there. If you think about eating corn and cinnamon, it feels weird, but in this capacity, it makes sense.
It makes sense. It balances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some people will use like vanilla pods. Where we get vanilla extract from is those vanilla pods, so that they'll throw those in there, and that would be super delicious actually, because what you're doing is making a custard in some ways. So yeah, you can do that too. If there's variations of it, it's definitely something. But I don't know, what other spices do you think we could add to this? I don't know, I kind of like it this way.
I mean, I like it this way, but I was thinking maybe nutmeg, but I don't know.
Oh.
Maybe.
I like
We
that.
can experiment with that, yeah.
I like that. Nutmeg is
I mean, I usually, when we have atol de elote in my house, it's atol de elote and la tamal de elote.
Mm-hmm.
So we
Yeah.
pair it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Is there a question or comment?
Well, somebody was counting out the steps.
Oh, they
Oh,
are? Okay,
They're
what are
saying,
they?
Uno, todo mundo agachadito. Dos, moviendo la paleta. Y tres, moviendo el atol de elote.
Okay,
Ah,
so son tres. Okay.
So yes,
Perfect.
this is la paleta.
Yes.
So another reason why we can't use the whisk.
Yeah, we can use the whisk.
Because
Sorry,
the
whisk.
song says the paleta.
Shout out to Evelyn for that.
Thank you,
Thank
Evelyn.
you.
Yeah.
You are a real one. One other thing that we have here. So traditionally, you serve the atol with a garnish or with extra yumminess, and that's just cooked elote, cooked corn. And so what you do is that you serve it, and then you pour or you throw in a few kernels into where you're going to drink it from. And this is just a fun way to kind of taste the elote as you're drinking it. So it's enjoying it in two different ways. And to prepare this corn garnish right here, you're gonna take one of these, you're gonna peel it, or not peel it, but cut the kernels off of it, and in a little olla, in a little pot, throw it in there. Throw some water in there. You don't have to measure. You don't have to measure the water. But just put in as much as you need to cover the elote, and throw some salt in there just so that you can really taste the corn flavor, because you'll taste the sweet and the saltiness if you feel like that. And then just keep an eye on it, stir it around, and then once it boils, the corn should be cooked. And then once it's cooked, you strain it and you just set it aside so that when your atol is ready, you'll be able to serve it with the beverage. So, if you were wondering how you serve it. Let's see.
Right.
How is this doing? This is still pretty watery, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just if we let it, we say we let it boil, in my experience. I feel like we let it boil. Once it reaches a boil, then I think it'll thicken. Because I think the milk.
The milk.
Yeah, so one of the things
Tell us. This is what we're here for. This is the point.
There was no cookbook for me. So when I'm cooking something that has milk, or even like when I'm making like anything that has milk, I wait to see like the brim of the pot. And if you have something with milk, you see it starts to foam a little, especially like como my mom would say, like la nata de la leche.
Sí.
So I think that's one of the things. I say we let it boil, and like que le agarre la natilla de arriba por un momentito.
Okay.
And then I think it'll thicken.
I'm gonna trust Josie.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Because she's a special guest. You know? Special guest is always right. No, I'm kidding.
No.
Not. Am I kidding? No. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Special guest is always right.
So I would just I'm gonna make an executive decision to do that, to let it thicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't be shy to, when you're cooking, this is kind of how it works. It's very trial and error. The kitchen is a space of experimentation. Porque a veces you just have to aventarse. You have to just go for it and then see what happens.
Do you see how it's like already building, like como nata arriba? That layer?
Yes, I do. I do see that. Another thing that could be why it's not thickening up faster is because, remember, we use 2% milk.
Also, yes.
So if you really want a super, super, super thick, delicious atol, go ahead and use full fat. I'm a little bit sensitive with like full fat like milk. So that's why we use this. So that could also be the reason. But it just kind of depends on what you prefer.
And I think that's another thing, like,
honestly.
That when it comes to the food we eat or the recipes, of our parents, that, we have to keep in, conscious of, like, being very aware of, like, food allergies or people not being able to drink whole milk and stuff like that. So, and so I think, like, a fusion or a variation of it is okay. And we're okay with that.
Yeah.
All right. So it's coming to a boil.
I see it.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for you, Atol.
Yes.
I'm rooting for you.
I'm seeing the layer.
You have to observe a lot.
We're on the right path here.
We're on the right path. The cinnamon is breaking apart too. So if you are, you don't have to use, some people really don't like using cinnamon sticks.
I love using cinnamon sticks. I use it for my oatmeal.
Oh, really?
Yes.
How do you?
I boil the water with the cinnamon sticks. Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Then I have to take them out for my kids, but I love cooking with cinnamon sticks. Yes.
So for my oatmeal, I just use cinnamon powder, and that's it. But maybe I will use cinnamon sticks in the water that you make the oatmeal with. That's a great idea.
Yes.
Was there a question?
Well, Brianna's just commenting. I love that the kitchen is a place for discovery. It just goes to show how much science and mathematics is embedded in our culture.
Thank you, Bree.
Yes, it is so true. The kitchen is such a place. Because so many things like are happening. Like there's the science of food, the chemistry of food. You're playing with different temperatures, and that's how beautiful things happen. And then you're playing with different like flavors too.
Yes.
Like when I was a kid watching these cooking shows, I remember feeling intimidated when I would hear the chefs say, "There's not enough acid in this." I was like, oh
The
my
acidity.
gosh, yeah, like that's like chemistry stuff. Like, do you have to go like and understand all of these things, you know? And the thing is that it does take understanding like your palate, right? All the different taste buds that you have, you know, the bitter, the sweet, the sour, the salty, and what's the other one? Bittersweet. Well, yeah, you all get what I'm saying. So it is about understanding those, and it is a huge part of like cooking science and chemistry, and then you eat it.
I think that for women, you know, a lot of the work that women, you know, do is rendered invisible or devalued because it's in the kitchen or it's in the home or it's in the private sphere. And so I think that, like, especially for, you know, immigrant mothers, you know, them having this ability to create all of these things that have this scientific and this methodology behind it, and then being able to do it, I think that, you know, speaks to a lot. And I think that, you know, that gender component of how it's just cooking. No, it's not just cooking, right?
There's
and
a
so,
lot that goes
it's
into
a lot. It's beyond the nurture and the love, but it has
it's a real skill set.
Yes, exactly.
Another question.
Martha has 2 comments. She says, yes, oatmeal with cinnamon sticks is great, then add milk. That's the consejo there. And then Martha also says, she was reminding you that umami was the other balance.
How can I forget?
The flavors.
Umami.
Is that where that burger place? Okay.
Oh yeah, there's that burger place called Umami. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And I was watching, I watch a lot of cooking shows, but one of the most user-friendly umami flavor that I guess folks in like really in the Anglo food space are really comfortable with. Now we have things like soybeans, fermented soybeans, like we have like kimchi, all of these like foods that are ethnic foods that were not, you know, available or interesting to the bigger food market. Parmesan is an umami flavor that a lot of people don't even think about. Like they just think, oh, it's salty or whatever, but it's umami. It has all these complex flavor notes that kind of just explode, and then you're like, oh my gosh, this is really good. So it's just kind of a really fun note on umami. But yes, you are right.
So you can see it's starting to like a froth.
Yeah. Froth is good.
And so I think that's how it's thickening. Yeah.
I'm gonna taste it again.
All right, here you go. That's your spoon.
Oh man. So, I'm tasting the cinnamon now. Before, it was very one-dimensional-ish. So we had just the corn and like sweetness. But now that cinnamon is finally like releasing all of its spicy notes. So you have the warm cinnamon flavor, then you have the sweetness of the corn, and then you have a little bit of the sugar is still there, but it's different. And then it's not overly sweet or overly like elote or cinnamon. It's just all really, it's happening. It's happening.
It is.
Here, let me get some for you so you taste it too.
All right.
This is your spoon.
All right. My spoon. Let me see if I can do this.
And we are using the same spoons. I know.
Multitask.
I know. But we are all drinking this, so we're okay with that. If you're making, you taste it.
It's in there. It's good.
Everything is there. So we used, there's 10 tazas of liquid here.
Okay.
So for the 10 cups of liquid, we use less than a cup of sugar. One of the things I kind of think would be cool is to use panela. So panela is if you've seen it, it's the cone, also called piloncillo. So you could use that. You'd have to kind of like shave it down because it's a hard sugarcane extract triangle. So I don't think you could just put the whole thing in there just like that. So you'd have to, go ahead and measure it. but we use less than a cup, and I think that's
a good substitute.
If you use panela, yeah. So this is still thickening up. Another question.
Stephanie is saying, I wish we could taste it. Next time, can there be a live audience? LOL.
Yes! Great question, Stephanie. So, let's talk about this. Excuse me. As we're waiting for this to thicken up, that's definitely something that folks have been talking to us about, and we are definitely interested, because I think it's fun to go to events where you're trying this, and it's just exciting. What kind of recipes would you like to see in an actual SalviSoul live experience? Let us know in the comments, because that's something we definitely want to explore. So if we're gonna make this happen, we want to make sure it's a recipe that you are interested in.
Well, you could have like a Salvi breakfast one where we do make the casamiento. We can make it like la hembra y el varón. Like you could have. There's so many components there.
It's a lot of components. Salvi breakfast.
Well, maybe let's see what else can we do.
You have the casamiento. You have the frijoles. Oh no! Well, if you have casamiento, you don't need to make the frijoles.
You would need plátanos.
Plátanos fritos. You need the eggs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. And
So we can do that.
Speaking of Salvadoran breakfast.
Yes.
I've been wondering, what's more traditional for breakfast? Having the tortillas or the pan francés? What is more traditional?
I don't know what everybody out there does, but I think that for us at my house and my stepdad and everybody that knows me, he's so amazing. He can make guacamole out of like 2 avocados. But anyways, so he's a very big part in cooking in our home. So my stepdad, he cooks a lot. So actually, but one of the things that he does the best is breakfast. And so para nosotros we use the bolillo or the pan, and so for us it would be the pan, because we open it and he puts the egg and the beans and everything inside. So
it's fun. Yeah. I've heard different people are very particular. Like, la tortilla no se come. Yeah, tortillas, almuerzo y cena. But it's not for breakfast.
Okay.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like I had both. My family, they would make a breakfast dish. I don't know that it's in other Salvi families do this, but one of my favorite things to eat that my mom would make in the morning is tortilla frita. So she'd take leftover tortillas from the dinner before, and she'd like fry them, and it, throw like vegetables in it, throw a ton of stuff, like almost like what you see in like a potato scramble, but replace the potato with tortilla. Salvadoran tortilla. Bien deliciosa. Siempre le queda exquisito. Right?
We have 2 sets of voting going on in the comments right now.
Okay.
So I'm going to catch everybody up here.
All right.
So the first question that was posed was, what recipes for a live on SalviSoul?
Okay.
So Brianna says, empanadas de frijol.
Oh, yes.
That's a good one.
Stephanie says, yuca con chicharrón.
Yes.
And Jasmine says, atol de choco, please.
Oh, wow.
Then for the other vote, we're saying, what bread for breakfast, right? Excuse me. Brianna votes tortillas. Stephanie says pan francés in this home, LOL. And then Stephanie says hard one. In El Salvador, you have to get the fresh bread calientito from the panadería cuando pasan.
Cuando pasan vendiendo el pan. Yes, true.
Brianna
so that does make sense to have desayuno with pan francés, because in the morning is when you get fresh bread. So it wouldn't make sense.
It would.
So okay.
Brianna's saying tortillas are more traditional because they are more native to the lands using corn.
Fight. No, I'm kidding. No fight. Have both. Have both. Enjoy both.
And tortillas are gluten-free. Brianna.
Tortillas are gluten-free. My arguments for pan is that there's just nothing like pan, and it's so good. I wish it wasn't as good. No, pero en serio, for real, I don't think I could decide, because I love tortillas. I think I made my decision.
What is it?
it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the fun. Yeah. But they're both great. I would probably have both.
Yeah.
Knowing me, I would probably have both.
Now, chuco is something that is very intimidating to me.
It is for a lot of people.
Because I mean, that, and I think I told you this, like the whole thing with the nuegados. So chuco you eat with nuegados, right? Or is that?
Yeah, I think it's yeah.
But nuegados I like.
No. Nuegados is with chilate.
Okay, wrong one.
Chilate, yeah.
So I'll take that back, and I'll say that.
So chilate scares you.
Yeah. No, chuco scares me because I think it's the beans and it has a lot of components to it.
Yeah. So chuco, what's crazy to me is that a lot of the hot beverages that we talked about are sweet. So
chuco is not sweet.
Chuco is not sweet, and you know our sweet taste buds are right at the tip of our tongue.
Okay.
So anything sweet, we're just automatically going to enjoy it, and then in the front part of our brain, we're going to experience all those wonderful, like, ooh, this is tasty. It's like it just happens in the brain when you get something that you really love, right?
Right.
So with chuco, it's not going to necessarily activate those parts of your brain because it has a lot of complex flavors. There's fermented corn in there.
Yes.
I know the word can be scary, fermented, but if you think about curtido, that's fermented too, you know, depending on how long you leave it there. And so the frijoles are also very good. And then it has
what is it?
Alguaste.
Yeah,
Alguaste is a powder of pumpkin seeds.
There we go.
And I love alguaste.
So both of my children actually love chuco. Yeah.
Ya está no, not rebalsando, pero ya está. I saw a good bubble in there.
Yeah, there we go. Just gotta let it go. There we go. There they are.
So this is real time, you guys. You've seen us moviendo el atol because that's the commitment it takes. It smells so good. It's so tempting. I can't tell you how much it's like hard to just watch this. But it's worth it. And that's the thing you have to remember. It's worth it. But yeah, so at chuco, that's why they call it chuco, because it's fermented. And the word chuco actually is another word for like something that's went bad. But it's like on purpose.
Yeah.
We want it this way.
Right.
So maybe, that is a great suggestion. Any more suggestions on what a SalviSoul live would be?
Well, people are talking still about breakfast.
Oh, okay.
It's the most important.
Oh my God, there's just so many things to make. I mean, pastelitos, empanadas, nuegados. I mean, oh my gosh, we could go on.
You can go on.
Yeah. And that's only in El Salvador.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, that's not saying all the other 6, right? Because there's a total of 7 Central American countries. But I think that by far, you know, based on all of my experience, I think that, you know, Salvadoran food is number 1.
I think this
Guatemalan and then Nicaraguan.
I don't know. Honduran comida?
The baleadas are pretty good.
Baleadas are pretty good. And then I've also had... Oh my gosh.
It's good, huh? I think we're there.
Okay.
Stephanie's being democratic, saying, let's make them all. Let them all eat cake.
Oh my God, you could totally have like stations or something. It could be like a full-on day event.
If you would like to know more about, because it's going to happen, 2019, here we come.
Yes.
So the best way to kind of stay up to date with SalviSoul events is our newsletter. So if you go to SalviSoul.com, you can input your email address, and we try not to email you all the time, but we do email you. I promise to email you, actually. So you can find out more through there. All of our newsletters, all the folks who are on the newsletter hear about our events first. So that way, if there's something to sign up for, you'll be the first to kind of
I think that one of the, you know, what you're doing is so unique. and it's so much needed. It's very much needed, and for us as, you know, Central Americans or Central Americans, however you identify, you know, because like we've been discussing, you know, cooking is already a challenge, maybe, right?
Yeah.
But you know, some of us are. This is our only way to be connected to.
Absolutely.
To our parents' country of origin, or even our own country of origin. So I think that having a cooking class to teach us how to do this would be wonderful. And so, you know, I really do believe in it's our time to create our own stories and for us to write our own stories. And I think that, you know, our food has, you know, so many connections to our indigenous roots, to us, to everything. And I think that having, you know, you being able to put that in a space where we can learn and we can all, that only builds community.
Yeah.
And I think that you know, I would love for you to have a cooking class and we'd all attend.
Yes. No, I love sharing this, and it's that's why I'm here. How are we on time?
We're approaching 1 hour. We're 5 minutes away from an hour.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
I thought we were like at 25 minutes.
11:56.
Wow.
Okay.
Woo-hoo.
So this has been the longest episode now. Thank you all for tuning in.
Do you want to
Yes, we're gonna try this out.
All right.
So this is how you would serve it.
Okay.
So let me hand you this one.
All right. I'm gonna put the corn in there.
Yeah, and I'm gonna put.
We have people voting for cooking classes.
Yes, I think we should.
Okay, and then so you add your little elote here.
All right.
And then if you want, you can give your guest a spoon so they can spoon it out.
All right.
And so we're gonna try this.
Let's do a cheers to good 2018 and
Yes.
for those cooking classes in 2019.
Cheers to you all. Thank you for watching, and special thanks to Jocelyn Duarte and SALEF for all the work they're doing, and every single guest I had this season. Stay tuned for the next one. Okay. Saludos y chao. And the music bailando.